ladies, so it's me again and I'm back. I did a video on my top 6, I guess, or 7 websites or accounts on Instagram or social media as a whole that you should be following. And I wanted to follow that up on because, again, this question of, oh my goodness, like, Mpo, like, how do you travel so much? Not necessarily now, back in the day, how do you get all these opportunities and get to, go and do all these cool things or whatever the case is? And my friend, like I said, one of my best friends, she used to get the same questions as well because she and I were literally, when I tell you, applying as though our lives depended on it. Literally. And so I've given you in the other video my top 6 accounts that you should be following for scholarships, opportunities, internships, apprenticeships, even jobs, and all of that. And then I gave you an extra 3 accounts, which were the UN related accounts, as well as the Alan Gray Orbis Foundation account, which I will do, like I said, a separate video on that. I wanted to follow that video up by saying, once you follow these guys, that's just the beginning. Okay. You haven't done anything. Following them is one thing, and scouring them on a daily basis. If you're truly that passionate about getting opportunities and getting exposure and wanting to really get your fingers into all the honeypots in the world to see what is going on out there and what is possible for you, just following them is not enough. Scouring them is not enough, right? You need to follow and then scour on a daily basis, and you have got to be intentional. Like, people don't always understand that, like, these opportunities don't just find you. You actually have to, guys, go out and apply. Go out and apply and apply and apply. So if I'm you and I'm a young person, maybe you don't know how to create a formal CV, Google. Okay, there's tons of websites that will help you create a free CV. There's Canva that has CV templates. And even just a simple one-pager explaining who you are. If you're maybe like, oh, I still, CV, I don't have much to say. Okay, that's fine. Then create half a page on Word and just say something brief about who you are, what you're passionate about, what you're hoping to achieve. It's such an important thing to have something that you can immediately share with somebody and say, hey, I'm hoping you can help me with this opportunity. I'm hoping to tap into this. Here's who I am. Briefly, high level overview. Can I at least get a call? Can I at least get considered for this? Can I at least have an application form so I can fill it out? Okay, always have something to that effect. Secondly, is you want to make sure that you're applying within the deadlines. I literally used to take a blank page every time. And I had my book, one of those black hardcover books. And in those books, or an exam pad, and I would literally scour the internet daily. And every day I would write down the opportunities that resonated with me. And yes, that took time. It would take 1, 2, 3 hours sometimes, depending on how many opportunities had come out on that day. And I would literally scour the internet, writing down what resonates with me, which ones I want. I'm like, okay, I think this is a cool opportunity. I can do this. Oh, I like this competition. If I can win it or even just get considered for it, maybe it will give me a stepping stone to this, or it allows me to practice my speaking or my writing or my whatever. I would write down all these opportunities that I wanted. And then I would make sure that I have the deadlines. Sometimes you go on and maybe, let's say you missed 2 days because you were off social media. That's fine. But then you come on and you realize, oh, no, one of these opportunities is ending in 2 days. So then you prioritize, right? So you write down the end dates and you prioritize and say, okay, the most immediate deadlines are these 3. And that means I need to get these applications done in the next 24 to 48 hours. And then you get going. Then you're just filling in forms, applying. Okay, going to the link, applying. And bear in mind that in some cases, they may ask you for a reference, i.e., can somebody write something up about you to say that this is the right person for you guys? Sometimes they might ask you to write an essay. So you want to give yourself time so that you can actually think through, okay, what is my essay about? What am I trying to communicate? What is the message that I'm trying to share with these people? So always consider those things. Prioritize, give yourself time. Make sure you meet the deadlines. And then the third thing is always coming back to see your emails to make sure that you have a response. Typically, most times there will be a response saying to say, hey, we regret to inform you, or hey, we are excited to let you know or to inform you that you have been successful. Congratulations, da 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 da. Do not be discouraged when you get the we regret to inform you. Okay, here's the thing that I want to share with you guys. And I'll share with you guys 2 stories. Is one, when I applied there was an opportunity in Hong Kong many years ago that I came across, and I was like, I don't even know how I came across that thing. I know I was in the US when I came across it because I was working there at the time, like just finished my articles and was going full time into my business at the time, Building Blocks Entrepreneurship Academy. And I came across this thing, and it was an entrepreneurship innovation kind of I don't want to call it a workshop, kind of like a pop-up academy, if you will. And so I wanted to go. I was like, this would be great if I can win this. There was like top tier tech mentors, top tier just like branding and marketing mentors, just like entrepreneurs who had done absolutely amazing work, or intrapreneurs who were doing amazing work in existing large organizations like the Googles, Nikes, Apple, Microsoft of the world, right? IBM and so on. And I was like, I want to find myself at this place. And so I applied. And funny enough, I actually still remember being at the airport and getting the call from this lady being like, dude, like your interview's tomorrow. I was like, for what? Because I had applied for so many things. I couldn't even keep track anymore at that point. Long story short is eventually I went through the whole process. I got selected. She let me know that, listen, we can't wait to see you in Hong Kong. There was obviously a fee for this academy that I was going to be attending. And then, of course, there was the fee of me getting from South Africa to Hong Kong, you know, staying there for 3 weeks and then coming back, I think 2 or 3 weeks, 3 weeks. Anyway, long story short is that they were not covering anything. I had made it into the academy, but I needed to pay for the academy. And when I tell you, I literally sent out, as soon as I got back to South Africa, because when they called me, I was leaving the US. As soon as I got back to South Africa, I was on my emails. I was sending out so many emails per day. Literally went on the internet and said, I want a list of all the companies in South Africa, all of them. Vodacom, MTN, Coca-Cola, I don't know. Okay, if this thing is registered as a company, I want it. And then I prioritize them by the listed companies because I figured the bigger the company, the better, because then they'll be willing to help me. At the time, maybe that wasn't, I maybe wouldn't put the same strategy right now because they have a lot more bureaucracy. However, you never know. You know, they do sometimes have really cool programs in their organizations. And so I went and I sent an email to all of these companies. I reached out to anyone and everyone that I knew, right? Whether it was a mentor, a coach, you know, someone's parent who I knew maybe works in a particular industry or sector, everyone. I called in the afternoons. I made phone calls to follow up on my email because some of the emails were sent to like kind of like the generic admin email address. Literally, right until 3 days before that trip, I fought my absolute best and nothing came back. Everybody at the time was like, the recession is almost upon us. It was just the economy wasn't doing great. And yeah, they were just not able to help me. And so many people had actually said, we wish we could help you. We can tell that you're passionate about what you want to do. And we think it's important. We think you and your background seem great. However, we just can't support you right now. Please come back to us at a different time. And that was gutting, right? Because I truly had tried and I really felt like in my spirit, I was supposed to be there in Hong Kong at this academy. Anyway, I gave up for like 10 seconds and I was like, okay, I'm not going. Texted my best friend. I was like, sis, this thing is not happening. Thought I was going to go. I'm actually a little bit like bummed not going. Couple of hours later, I come back to my senses and I'm like, girl, you know what you haven't tried? What you haven't tried is just to say to the people, guys, I really want to come, but I'm struggling. I'm in South Africa. Nobody here, the economy is doing great and nobody here is able to help me. And the reality is I've put together as much money as I can from different people that I know. And that's all I can do, right? So the money that I had raised at the time, again, I had pulled from family and friends. And then secondly, I had pulled from, like I said, Alan Gray being this cool fellowship that I'm a part of. I was able to apply for a little bit of a grant. Now, the reality is the pool of money I had could only take me so far, right? So with that pool of money, it was just about enough to cover the flight so the return flight to Hong Kong and back, or to cover a super humble accommodation for the duration of those 3 weeks, right, in Hong Kong. But it couldn't cover both. So I had to choose at this point. It's like, I can fly there, but now I have nowhere to live. Or I can pay for the accommodation, but now I can't get there. So that's irrelevant. And then on top of that, it just couldn't cover also the fee for the actual academy. And so I called these guys and I said, yo, this is what's happening. I actually didn't call them. I sent them an email, very long email, explaining that, like, guys, I've knocked on every door I could knock on. Literally, I've called, I've followed up, I've done everything in my power. I want to be there so badly, but I can't because this. And I said, this is how much money I've raised. I gave them the actual amount. I said, this money, the flight is this much. That's the cheapest flight I can get with multiple stops along the way, like layovers upon layovers. And on top of that, this is the accommodation fee that I've got. Unfortunately, with the money that I have, I can't cover everything. And I kid you not, someone from that organization called me. They picked up the phone, called me, spoke to me in person. I explained my whole shebang again that I had written on email in person. And at the end of that call, they said to me, okay, we're going to come back to you by the end of the day. And within an hour, they had come back to me and said, we're going to allow you to come to the academy and someone else is going to cover for you to come. Okay, so you don't have to think about paying that. They then helped me find an accommodation that was even more humble, which I was perfectly fine with. I will stay in a can of beans if I have to. Okay, I'm that girl. I will stay in a can of beans and I will eat noodles. I don't care. But they were like, we found an accommodation for you that is at least like half the price-ish. And then the rest of the money, obviously, you'll need to eat because we don't feed you either. Okay. And when I tell you, I was so grateful. I was so grateful. I got on a flight literally 2 days before, like overnight. I got on a flight 2 days before, landed the day before the thing started, the academy started, literally the night before. And the next morning I was starting the academy. And that is the story of not giving up when it feels like everybody is saying no, nobody can help you. You don't have a rich uncle who can just be like, oh, Nancy Sadna Imali. And just life is feeling like it's lifing. Okay, you just don't give up. And you know what? Let's say that person didn't come through for me and say, you know what, I'll find somebody to pay for you. But the reality here is don't give up on your dreams. You keep going, you keep applying. And the expectation here is that when everybody sees you in Hong Kong at the academy, they think you applied for this thing, you had the money to afford it, and then you just went and it was a good time. Nobody knows the behind the scenes story of me sitting and crying because I'm like, I want to go to Hong Kong. And not just because I want to be in Hong Kong, because this thing, I have so much to learn from it. It will be a dream come true for me to be able to just learn from even just the entrepreneurs, even if I don't win because there was like a competition in the academy where you could get funding. Even if I don't win it, I know that I want to be there. And my spirit was telling me that I was supposed to be there. And I never gave up and I kept pushing. And so the lesson there for me, which I've remembered and I continue to remember through this day as I am embarking on a new entrepreneurial journey, is you're going to knock on 100 doors. 10 of those doors will open. 5 of the people who open those doors are going to let you in. You're going to walk in to those 5 doors that have been opened and have allowed you to come inside. Okay, out of the 100. You knocked on 100, 10 opened, 5 let you in, invited you in. You go in, and out of the 5, 1 is going to say, I believe in you. Let's have a cup of tea. And essentially what you walk away with is, on the surface, you knocked on 100 and only 1 truly came through for you and said, yes, I'm willing to help you. However, all those other 10 that did open up and did just even engage you for 10 seconds, even if they had to walk away and say, sorry, I can't help you, I'm sorry, like close the door, those people now know who you are. They can tell that you're passionate about what you're looking for, wanting to do, or wanting to achieve. And most times, most people are actually really kind, right? And when they say no, it's not because they don't want to help. Sometimes it really is because they just cannot. When people don't want to help, they might not just reply. They'll read it and not reply. Okay, there are those people. And that's okay. And that's okay. When you get that kind of a response from the other 90 people that didn't even talk to you at all, they open your message and don't say anything. Or sometimes you do get the random one person who opens the door and then says something rude to you. or like leave me alone, or like, that person is an anomaly. Most people are really kind, but a no is not an indication of their unkindness. And so don't stop knocking on doors, and don't give up on your dreams until you've done absolutely every single thing you could have done to get the opportunity that you want. And if that opportunity doesn't come through, then it's fine. Then that means that opportunity was not for you. And then you also know when you go to sleep at night that I did everything I could. I didn't leave anything on the field. I literally gave it my all. This opportunity must not have been for me, and something better will come along. And then you go back to scouring the net. You go back to scouring the Instagram pages, looking for your next opportunities, applying. And I continue to do that at 31. Okay, I was doing the Hong Kong thing. I think I was 23 or 22, 23, 24, somewhere there, 24, 25, maybe, right? But I'm 31 now. And as I embark on my new entrepreneurial journey, there's other parts of my business that require me to seek out people who are willing to partner with a business that is still very young and infant, in its infancy stage, right? Meaning that there's not a lot I can offer you at this time, but what I can commit to is my expertise. Okay, the things I know are the things that I know, the things I've learned. And what I can commit is my commitment, my ethics, my generosity of my mind and my thinking and my capacity to tap into that. And I can offer my encouragement and my I want to say positive attitude when you're working with me on something, especially something that I'm truly positive about and excited about. And so I spent the whole morning since 6 a.m. this morning just completely on the internet, scouring. I send out the mails, and I'll do a separate video of how I typically, if I want to reach out to someone for help, how do I prepare for that? Templates and that kind of stuff. And I'll quickly share about that. It will be a shorter video. While I may not understand, I quite appreciate even just the response, because some people open, read, don't say anything, right? So the person who even takes the time to say, I'm so sorry, but this is not for us right now. I'm like, you know what? Eventually I come back to myself and I say, okay, it's okay. Thank you. And you know what? Sometimes it is also yielding to the fact that some opportunities are really not for you. Some companies are not the ones I'm supposed to partner with. Some brands are just not the ones that are going to align with where God is taking me. And that is okay. Because the last thing I know I want, even though I sometimes can't feel it in the moment, and I have to remind myself of this, is what I don't want is every company to say yes. And I find myself in marriage, which was what a partnership is really. I find myself partnered in marriage with a brand, a company that later on I'm like, oof, I really wish I hadn't done that. Or, oof, this was not the best partnership. We're not aligned. Our values are not aligned. And when you're trying to start something, or when you're chasing your dream, it can be a little bit difficult in the moment when you want to hear the yeses, to remember that core value alignment is key. It is insanely key. Anyway, I hope that this is helpful to someone. I hope that as you guys scour the net and look for opportunities and apply, that you will not be discouraged, that you'll continue to press on. And as always, if you have any questions, any comments, any other advice actually from anybody else following us, pop it into the comment section. Otherwise, have a fabulous day.